Welcome to Happy, Healthy, and Homegrown. This is Chloe, and I've got a few videos showing you how to take care of sourdough really easily. So here's a quick video of how to make bagels with your dough. So if you haven't watched my other video about how to make a one-size-fits-all sourdough recipe that's easy to maintain, go watch that video first. And then before we get started, preheat your oven or toaster oven at 450 degrees. You can use the toaster oven and make just a handful of bagels fresh every single day and keep your dough in the fridge, and you'll always have fresh bread, fresh bagels. So let's get started making bagels here. What you're gonna do for your bagels now is you have your cookie sheet you're gonna cook them on. You can use a big one if you wanna cook them in your oven. And then you'll put some coconut oil on that. Dun, dun, dun. Rub it around so that everything cooks and doesn't stick. So you're going to be using your dough that has already gone through its bulk rise for 6 to 12 hours or longer, and you're going to use about half of the dough is what I'm using today. And then you'll break off your bagels however large you want them. Now remember, they'll probably almost double in size. So this would be like a mini bagel size. Try to get out of the glare. Put it on your pan, poke a hole in it, push it out, and like that. And then and of course, before you start this process, grab a little pot and start boiling water. So here's my little tiny pot. It's not even very big. I put about 2/3 water in it. I'm gonna boil the water, and once the water's boiling, I'm gonna throw my bagels in it. They only need to rise for maybe 10 minutes at the most before you boil them. As soon as you get that water boiling, so turn it up to high so it boils fast. You don't wanna wait. You can add also, if you want raisin bagels, chocolate chip bagels, anything like that, you add them in before you do this process. So at this point, you might take some dark chocolate chips because they're lower in sugar than the sweet stuff and they taste better. Grab your chocolate chips. You work a few in, grab your little bagel. Now this works great because everyone in our house likes different things. One likes raisins, one likes chocolate chips, one likes savory. So you can just make one individual bagel, tuck it in on itself a few times, massage those chocolate chips in, add a few more if you like, make it extra chocolatey, massage them in, and then make your little bagel hole again in the middle, ta-da, and leave it there to rest until the water boils. And so there's my little chocolate chip bagel. And now with the savory bagels, everything bagels, which is my favorite, my husband's favorite, you'll save that till after they boil, and then you'll just sprinkle it on top after it's been boiled. With the chocolate chips, if they're going to be inside of it, you have to put them in before you boil it, because when you throw it in the water to boil it, what you're just doing is creating a little bit of a skin on your bagels so that it has a bagel texture to it when it cooks. Make sure the chocolate chips aren't showing or they'll melt in the hot water. Cooking them on the same pan, you know, like put your savory on one side, your sweet on the other side. Now with this chocolate chip one, after I finish boiling it, I could sprinkle some sugar on it too. Toaster oven on, and I'm gonna make bagels in the toaster oven, so I'm gonna preheat your oven or toaster oven to 450. In the meantime, let's get the other bagels ready. I'll break this off into 1, 2. You can make jalapeno and cheese bagels. You can make plain bagels. You can get a fancy hard cheese and like Asiago or Parmesan and shred it on top of your bagel after you've boiled it. So you could take the plain bagel, put the hole in the middle, boil it, slap it on here, and then before you bake it, you top it with your cheese. All right, so I'm gonna make a couple chocolate chippers. And then the other ones are just going to be plain ones. So I have some jalapenos here. These are what I mean when I say jalapenos. You don't want raw jalapenos. You want the jarred kind because they're not quite as intense and they're already soft and they cook better. So with the jalapenos, what I'm going to do actually, since I'm cooking sweet and savory together, is after I cook these, I'm just going to put the jalapenos and cheese both on top. My water is boiling really rapidly. Got my bagels right here. And I'm going to drop them in. It's hard to do with one hand, but you're just going to drop them in and let them boil for about 30 seconds until they have a little bit of a skin on both sides. And you can use your tongs to get them out. You can use, I use a wooden spatula, whatever I can find. It doesn't have to be anything particular, but you want to flip it over after a bit and let it boil on the other side. And it basically, you want it to kind of firm up a little. So it's not quite done. You can actually throw it. See, that one's perfect right there. Uh-oh, chocolate's melting. So we're going to take it out and look at it. Now, do you see how different this one is than the other ones that haven't been cooked? That's what you're looking for. Just a little skin on the outside. This is raw dough, and that one has a skin. It's just cooked a little bit on the outside. They look a little funky, but when they bake, they actually start to look a little bit better. They start to take a little more shape. So here's some more in here cooking. And you don't want them to stick to the bottom. If they start to stick to the bottom, you want to unstick them. So there's that one. Still looks a lot different than the dough. When you throw these cold bagels in, it starts to not boil as well. So sometimes you got to turn it back up again. You see this one right there? Nice. Harder to do with one hand. Here's my bagels. I got 2 chocolate chip, and then the other ones are savory. So I'm going to throw some jalapeños. Everything seasoning on these guys. I love jalapenos. And then I have this cheese. I'm gonna put a little of that cheese on that one and that one. So I got 2 of each delicious bagel. I'm just gonna pop them in my toaster oven, and I'm gonna keep an eye on them, but probably 10 to 15 minutes they'll be ready. Here's my bagels. They've just finished cooking in my toaster oven. And I'm going to transfer them onto my wooden chop block to dry. You know, you could use a spatula for this. Okay, so I transferred my bagels from my toaster oven to my wooden chopping tray. You can see they're a little bit golden on the top and cooked on the bottom really nicely. You got a couple savory, a couple sweet. You can leave the rest of the dough in your fridge, make some fresh in the morning, and you always have fresh bread, fresh bagels, all these delicious things. Let me know in the comments if you tried making these sourdough bagels and what you put in them and on them. Sourdough is one of the easiest digest breads in the world. For thousands of years, people have eaten sourdough. The sourdough culture actually metabolizes the gluten and eats it up and transforms it into a fermented substance, which is easier for your body to digest. Grains have a lot of phytates in them, which keep them from sprouting until they get in the ground. It has its own natural preservative in it. So when you grind that grain and eat it without doing anything to transform it, those natural enzyme inhibitors in it also block the digestion in your body and rob your body of minerals in order to process it. Also, people who are diabetic will say that when they check their insulin after eating sourdough, it doesn't rise very much, and when they eat regular white flour bread, it rises a lot. So higher gluten flour and wheat means that there's more protein in it. But with that said, many people have gluten issues with their gut. So when you ferment it in the souring process, you actually get something that's easy to digest and has good protein content. And that's why I love making sourdough at home, because I can make literally everything I normally love. Cinnamon rolls, pizza dough, bagels, bread. So check out my other videos on how to make cinnamon rolls and pizza, bread of all different kinds, all from the same basic dough recipe. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.